You didn't grow up in chaos, you grew up in transition. Your childhood belonged to an analog world, landline phones, waiting for your favorite show at a specific hour, playing outside until the street lights flickered on. Life moved slower, mistakes faded. Nothing followed you forever. Then adulthood arrived, and the world had changed completely. Suddenly everything was digital. Your work, your relationships, your identity. You didn't just discover the internet, you were asked to migrate your entire existence into it. Profiles replaced introductions. Metrics replaced meaning. Visibility became currency. And you were expected to make that transition fluently, while building a career, paying off debt, and figuring out who you were. This is why millennials are so consistently misunderstood. You are not indecisive or fragile. You are a bridge generation, the only generation that had to fully adapt from one world into another while already carrying adult responsibility. Psychologically, that created something rare and costly: high adaptability paired with chronic inner instability. When you're always adjusting, you rarely feel grounded. When you're always coming, you rarely feel finished. There is a quiet exhaustion that comes from never knowing which version of you is enough. You are not broken. You are standing between two worlds, carrying the weight of both. You were not raised on fear. You were raised on hope. The message was simple and repeated. Work hard, do the right things, and life will take care of you. Success was a fair exchange, effort in, stability out. You believed that promise and organized your life around it. Then, just as you stepped into adulthood, the ground gave way. September 11th shattered the illusion of safety. The 2008 financial crisis arrived precisely as you were forming your professional identity. Jobs disappeared. Careers stalled before they began. Student loans grew faster than paychecks. Housing slipped out of reach. The rules stopped working, but no one officially told you they had changed. This is where the psychological wound formed. When a system fails but continues to insist it is fair, the damage doesn't stay external. It turns inward. You don't conclude the system is broken, you conclude something must be wrong with you. Psychologists call this economic gaslighting, being asked to doubt your own reality while carrying the consequences of a collapse you didn't cause. You worked harder for less security. You delayed milestones not from irresponsibility, but because the math no longer added up. Yet the cultural narrative blamed you anyway, and you internalized the contradiction. You did everything right and learned to feel ashamed regardless. That unresolved tension became the background noise of your life. A low-level anxiety that never fully shuts off. Not because you lack resilience, because you were trained to trust a system that quietly withdrew its promise. This wasn't a personal failure, it was a collective betrayal. The anxiety that settled into your nervous system isn't loud. It looks like background noise, an alert that never turns off. You wake up, already bracing for the email, the bill, the sense that one wrong move could unravel something carefully held. The future stopped feeling like a place you were moving toward, and started feeling like something you had to defend yourself from. Your body learned to live in a low-grade fight or flight state. Cortisol never quite drops. Rest doesn't feel restorative, it feels risky. Even on good days, there is a tension humming beneath the surface. Tight shoulders, a clenched jaw, sleep that never goes deep enough. These are not personal weaknesses. They are the physical imprint of long-term uncertainty, your body's honest record of what it was asked to carry. If any part of this is landing for you, take a moment to drop a like on the video. It helps more people find conversations like this. And if you're drawn to the deeper psychology of human behavior, consider subscribing. It's the best way to stay connected to this work. Millennials are the first generation to grow into adulthood with a permanent audience. Before social media, comparison was naturally limited. You measured yourself against a small circle. Now the reference group is infinite. Old classmates announcing promotions, strangers launching companies, curated lives unfolding in real time. You start comparing your private confusion to everyone else's public certainty. Imposter syndrome thrives in that gap, no matter what you achieve. It feels provisional, one exposed misstep away from being taken back. At the same time, FOMO becomes existential, not fear of missing a party, but fear that life itself is happening somewhere else without you. So, you perform stability, curate resilience, and post proof that you are okay even when you no longer know what okay feels like. Living under permanent observation reshapes identity. Reflection gets replaced by reaction. Authenticity gets replaced by optimization. What looks like narcissism from the outside is often something more fragile, a defensive structure built to protect self-worth by inflating it. Not grandiose, but brittle and anxious. Dependent on external validation, quick to collapse without it. When your identity becomes a brand, you slowly lose access to who you are when nothing is being optimized. Millennials are not exhausted because they are weak. They are exhausted because they never learned how to feel safe while resting. You were raised in the age of hustle. Productivity wasn't just encouraged, it was moralized. Doing more meant being more. Every passion had to be profitable. And yet the system offered very little security in return. You could give everything and still receive a polite email letting you know your position had been eliminated. In that environment, rest stopped feeling like recovery and started feeling like risk. This is why burnout for millennials isn't primarily physical fatigue. It is existential depletion, waking up tired, even after sleeping, losing interest in things you once loved, scrolling instead of resting because true stillness feels uncomfortable. You don't relax. You hover. Even the language of healing got absorbed by the same logic that caused the exhaustion. Wellness became a checklist. Self-care became another obligation to perform correctly. Rest became something to optimize, not something to receive. You aren't burned out because you didn't care enough. You are burned out because you cared for too long in a system that never promised to care back. Learning to rest isn't a weakness. It is unlearning survival. Many millennials were also shaped by instability long before adulthood. Parents were often overwhelmed, emotionally unavailable, or quietly anxious. Love was present, but inconsistent, conditional, in ways no one named. You learned early that approval had to be earned, that being easy was safer than being needy. This is where attachment patterns formed. Many millennials developed anxious attachment, always scanning for signs of abandonment, needing reassurance, but never quite trusting it. Others developed avoidant attachment, pulling away when closeness starts to feel overwhelming. The common thread is emotional hunger, the need to be fully seen, formed in the gap between love that was present and love that felt reliable. As adults, this surfaces as overgiving, difficulty with boundaries, choosing partners who feel emotionally distant but somehow familiar. The subconscious isn't drawn to what is healthy. It is drawn to what is known. Yet something quietly revolutionary is also happening. Millennials are often the first in their families to ask, "Is this normal?" The first to name a pattern rather than repeat it. That awareness doesn't erase the wounds, but it creates the possibility of something different. Millennials normalized therapy, learned the language of trauma and attachment, and brought words to experiences that were previously dismissed as weakness. That changed things permanently. But awareness has its own shadow. Understanding your wounds doesn't automatically heal them. For many millennials, insight became a form of protection, analyzing instead of feeling, explaining instead of resting in the discomfort. Healing became another performance, another project to complete correctly. Awareness without integration leaves you fluent in your own suffering, without being free of it. The task now isn't more insight. It is learning to let safety and genuine rest catch up with everything you already understand. If you are a millennial, this needs to be said plainly. You are not failing. You were handed a broken map and told to find your way anyway. You absorbed economic collapse, cultural acceleration, emotional instability, and digital overload, often simultaneously, often alone. The exhaustion makes sense. The self-doubt makes sense. But beneath all of it, there is something the noise tends to drown out. You are the cycle breakers, the first generation to look at inherited pain and decide, in real time, that it stops here. The first to choose awareness over denial, boundaries over endurance, honesty over performance. That work is largely invisible. It doesn't come with milestones or applause, but it matters in ways that outlast everything built for visibility. You are not behind. You are rebuilding on unstable ground, with more consciousness than any generation before you. Give yourself some grace for that. It is not a small thing. You can subscribe if you do like to continue these deep dives together. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching.